Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Trade Show number 3. Today we're demonstrating the S3 Simple Sandcarve Software, and I have Mel Washington, or the Sandman from CADlink Technology, here with us. So he'll walk you through this. Welcome, Mel. Is there anything you want to say to our viewers out there?
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you having me on the show, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy the S3 software.
Excellent. So I'll show you guys the video here of walking through the software, and then stay tuned for some live Q&A after. Mel, do you want to just go over some of the latest features? Maybe talk about what's happening new with S3 as I pull this video up.
Sure. So what you guys need to know about S3 is S3 is a fully functioning design software. So you could design as well as import files in to make ready for printing onto film, so you can expose it to your RapidMask or your R series film. It is really, it's really quite flexible.
Hi, my name is Mel Washington, and I'm with CADlink Technology. We're the developers of the S3 Simple Sandcarving Software. I was talking with Mikaela, and she asked me if I would do a quick video to show you some of the features. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to bring your attention to is this dark box here. This is going to be our page. The page I have set to the same width and height as the AccuBlack film. So I know whatever I put in this space is going to fit on my film when I print out my my film. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started showing you the feature that's called Invert. So Invert's really nice because if you have some vector graphics on the screen like this, I want to get it to the size, maybe I want to get it to about 4 inches wide. So I could come up here and type in 4 inches, and I am good to go there. So if I'm working with RapidMask, I need to make this an inverted piece of artwork. So there's a button here that's called Invert Graphic. Once I push that button, I get a window that comes up, and it comes up with a border offset. That's the amount of extra space it gives me around the graphic. So if I have a 1/4 inch, it's going to be a 1/4 inch on each side, so it's really going to increase it a 1/2 inch in total on going each direction on the X and the Y axis. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it a 1/4 inch. So that gives me plenty of room to mask off with some masking tape my mask. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my object border is black, so that the mask around the outside, that extra border, is going to be black. So move this over here so you can see what's going to happen. Once I hit my OK button, it inverted this graphic, and it also added a 1/4 inch around the outside. So what I'll do is I'll just take my graphic, I'll put it in the window here, and maybe I want to make copies of this. Maybe I want to get multiple copies. So if I move it down to the bottom, and maybe I want to try to get a little better use of my material, I'll rotate it 90 degrees. I'll put it right here in the corner. I can go up here to Layout, and I can click on Array, and I can click on the total number of copies that I want. So you can see now I have that on my page. I can highlight this, and I can go to File, go to Print, scroll down to the bottom here to my printer, and I have this Preview button checked. That's really important because once I go OK, it's going to show me my page, and it's also going to show me my artwork in here too. So I can see that it's going to fit onto my page without any problems. And all I have to do is hit print, and it will print out my film, and I can expose it to my RapidMask. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down, cancel. And that's how the invert tool works. So the other tool that she wanted me to show you was vectorization. So oftentimes you'll get somebody who will give you a graphic off of the internet, and this is exactly what has happened here. Somebody gave me this graphic and said, "Hey, I want to get that elk on the top. So how would I do that?" So as I scroll in here, you'll see that this is really pretty pixelated. It doesn't look very good at all. Plus, you see the spoiler in here. So all I do is I highlight this, or better yet, I can double click it. And I click this posterization, and then a wizard comes up, and it wants to know if I want to run the prepare to vectorize wizard. I tell it yes, I do. My job doesn't need to be 20 megabytes. About 5 is a good number. Hit OK. Now you automatically, the first thing it takes you to is a program called Supersize that we have in here. And you see automatically, I'm going to move it, and you'll see it redraw and smooth that area out right away. So as soon as I put it in here, it wants to smooth this out without me changing any of the default settings. I'm happy with what I see, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say OK. Then it'll take me to the next step, which is picking the number of colors in the job I want. So since this is going to be a black and white print, I only need 2 colors, black and white. So my black color is already chosen, and this top is the graphic, and this bottom is going to be a preview of what I'm going to get once I'm done. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so I can get a better look at it. And grab that and move it a little bit. So you can see, because of that spoiler, I have some breaks in my graphic. There's something I can do to fix that. I can go up to this tolerance and click it and give myself some more tolerance so you can see that it's overcoming that space that was there. So if I'm happy with that, I'll just click OK. And this is the tray setup. This is default. I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to say OK. And now it's made a copy for me. So if you look over here, this was my original. And over here is what I just got out of it. So when you vectorize, your graphic comes in grouped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to layout. I'm going to ungroup this. I'm going to start clicking on some of the elements here. I'm going to get the frame, and I'm going to delete that because I don't need it. And I only wanted the top elk, so I'm going to get rid of this bottom one. And I'm going to scroll in here. So you can see the inside of these horns aren't perfectly straight. So if I hit Alt-S on my keyboard, it's going to turn the fills on and off. So I could see that maybe I want to do a little work right here in this area. So if I double click on the line, you'll see that I get some nodes in here, and I can move these nodes and make this look a little bit better. And I'm not going to bother doing too much on this. I just want to give you an idea of how it works. And I'll hit apply. And you can see it straighten that line right out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt-S one more time. And because it's a vector, I can size it or resize it, and it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to get distorted. And then if I'm putting it on RapidMask, I want to hit my invert. I already have my black border. I already have my border offset. Say OK. Now it's ready to expose. So I can put that there, and you can obviously mix and match graphics too. So, you know, if I want to throw some of these on here, get some better use of my material, you can do that. So that is vectorization. Lastly, I'm going to show you something that's really cool. We call this, if I go to my transform, we call it our photo halftone tool. So the photo halftone tool allows you to take a photograph and give it a halftone so that you can use this to blast your media. So I'm going to put this young man on a glass. And to do that, I'm going to highlight this. First thing you want to do is get it to the size you want it to be when you're going to blast it. You don't want to resize the halftone because it'll distort it. So you want to have your original picture at the size that you want to blast. So now that I have it the size, I'm going to go over, go to Transform, go to Photo Halftone, and go to Interact. And right now it tells me this photo is 94 DPI. And I want to scale it to 600 DPI. I'm using 180 grit, so I found that that works really good at a 600 DPI setting. I'll say OK. Now it's going to show me the picture over here on the left-hand side, my original, but over on this side, it's going to show me the halftone. So my halftones are circles, but you'll notice that where there's areas of transition, they're not perfect circles. They'll be a little off, and that's only due to cover the shading and the different effects in the shading. So if I click contrast here, I can change the contrast of the photo, and I can also change the brightness. And you see that how that affects my halftones. Then if I hit dither here, I can pick halftone LPI, which is what I'm doing on this one. I can change my line angle, and then I can change the frequency LPI. So if you have a smaller grit, you can use like a 55 LPI, 55 lines per inch. But I find again at 180, 45 is work real well for me. And then your dot size is obviously going to be round. And then when I'm happy with it, I'm going to keep my original just in case I want to do this again. But I'm going to say OK. And you can see now that I created a halftone, which I can put over here. And I can print out, and I can expose to my mask, to my RapidMask, or to my R-Series film. So I'm going to move this off to the side, and I'm going to attempt to change cameras because I want you to see how well that came out. It's difficult to tell how good this is going to come out by just looking at a bunch of dots on the screen. But I am going to see if I can switch cameras and show you what it looks like. So that is the picture that I blasted, and I did it in reverse on the back side of a mirror. And you can see how well that came out. It's difficult to see with the lighting the way that it is, but it came out perfect. It looks really, really good. It looks a bit pixelated with all the light in the background, but it did come out very well. So again, I'll be sticking around. So if you have any questions whatsoever, I would be happy to answer them.
So now we're ready for some questions. So if you guys have some questions, please shoot them out, and Mel can help answer here. And if you have any questions on pricing, I can let you know about that right now too. So normally our S3 Sandcarving software runs about $395. So you can check that out on our website. I can post the link as well. But we do run specials with that, and let me just check on what that is. So yeah, right now with the specials, if you buy a blaster from us, you do get the S3 Simple Sandcarving software for free. We are running an equipment special too, so 10% off of all blasters and free shipping up to $400 off. So I believe that goes to the end of this month. So if you want to check that out, that's a great deal. It seems like we've got a couple of guys that we know. Jay, thanks for joining us. Dr. Feingrit's watching. Yeah, Mel, you got anything that you want to add on to there?
There's different features in the software. There are some I didn't show. Oftentimes you'll find yourself doing work. For instance, I actually own one of the sand carvers, and I ended up doing a job for a brewery, and they needed some glasses that needed to be done, and the names needed to change, but the artwork needed to stay the same. So it's really easy to set up a job so that you can have the artwork there. And I wish I had a sample of it. I may be able to find it before we're done here, but where you have the artwork and then you just have a name that needs to change, you could define the space in which the name is in. So you could have Mel, and it's going to fit in this 4-inch space, and then you can have Dr. Feingrit, and it's still going to fit in that 4-inch space. It's just going to condense it and shrink the lettering so that it's not distorted, so that it'll fit. And you can just tell it, okay, I want to read from this text list, or I want to read from this Excel sheet, and the graphic will change, or excuse me, the graphic will stay the same, but the name will change for every one of them. So it does a couple of things for you. One, it makes it really effective for you to just create pages of artwork without having to type in names. And then two, it puts the onus of spelling on the person who gives you the artwork. So the one I had even had a few misspellings, which I didn't catch, but the owner of the brewery said, well, yeah, that was my fault. I put that in there wrong. Could you create a couple new ones? And I did, and it was really easy to do. So that's just one of the features. You can serialize, so you could change numbers. Vectorization, of course. You have the photo halftoning. We use fonts from Windows, so any Windows font that you have in your system, you can use those fonts. So you can end up with hundreds of fonts, whatever you want to use.
Can you
I just find it.
new fonts?
Can you?
Can
Oh
you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
If you wanted to bring in a new font, all you have to do is just download it, install it into Windows, and then just run an install font feature that's in the software. It'll see every font that's available, and it makes it immediately accessible.
Okay, cool. It looks like we do have a question here from Taylor. Taylor would like to know, what is the extension of the vector artwork?
So the vector artwork that we put out, it's called the CDL file. So that's the file format that we work with. So when you save a file, it'll save as a CDL, but you can export that out. So you can export that out as a EPS, or you can a PDF, a PLT file. And we actually read Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Corel. We read a lot of different file formats. Even, if you're using bitmap graphics, we recognize bitmap, TIFF, GIF, JPEG. So we recognize all those file formats as far as importing.
All right, great. Yes, I really like that halftone tool, and from what I understand, you used that with a laser too, right? You did halftoning with a laser film, right?
I did. This is going to be my shameless plug for IKONICS film, but the Blazer Orange film, I love that stuff so much. It's so easy to work with. It's so flexible, and it makes my work a lot easier. It cuts out that stuff of having an exposed film. All I did was apply that mask to the back of the mirror, and then I set it on my laser. And most of these lasers, be it Trotec, Epilog, Universal, the big three, they have a feature where you can take a red dot and put it right in the middle of your substrate and say laser from this point out, so it's always going to fit. You don't have to try to say, okay, I need this to start 2 inches over this way. It'll just start in that spot every single time. So I masked it. I started it in that spot. I started the halftone lasering, and then I pulled it straight off and took it directly to the blaster. And it just came out fantastic.
Yeah, and don't feel like you're giving any harm to IKONICS there. It's, you know, some people can afford to get a laser and a Sandblaster, and that's great. And people that may not want to invest into a laser tool, like that's where the RapidMask process works great, and it's very inexpensive to just, you know, get an exposure unit and use our RapidMask for halftone too.
Well, I find it's a natural, they're a natural fit together, a laser and a sandblaster. I think they just fit very well together. So if you already have a sandblaster and you want to expand, a laser is really a nice natural fit to doing that, and vice versa. If you already have a laser and you want to get into sandblasting, they fit and work really well together, and that blaze orange makes it even a tighter fit than it already was.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask too, Mel, does S3, can it work with like a Windows system and like Apple or Mac, I'm sorry, or do they work with both? How does that go together?
It's a PC-based system, but if you're using a Macintosh and you wanted to, if you had Corel, or not Corel, I'm sorry, if you had, what is it, Boot Camp, or anything that'll allow you to boot into a Windows operating system, it'll work that way. So you can use it that way, but it doesn't come Mac native.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like we're not getting a ton of questions, but hey guys, you know, we're here to answer your questions. So if you're not on here watching today, feel free to give us a call. The best way to take advantage of our trade show special pricing too is just to give us a call, talk to our reps, and you can receive the discounted pricing, which with this you get up to 20% off of photoresist films, 15% off of laser films and inkjet media, and reduced pricing on sand carvers as well. And keep in mind, you do get the free S3 Simple Sandcarving software with all blaster purchases. So you can give us a call at 1-800-643-1037. Please follow us, like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. And thanks for joining this segment. So Mel, thank you so much for doing this with us today. We really appreciate your help always. You're a genius with all of the softwares, and I see that you're becoming a master at sand carving and lasering. So thanks, Mel.
All right, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, have a great day, guys. See ya.